But the Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey, says more needs to be done to help Ukrainians who fled their homes reach the UK. We can speak to him now live from Krakow. Morning to you, Mr. Davey. I know you spent yesterday, didn't you, talking to people, meeting people who are there. What have you heard and what have you seen?
I was at the border between Ukraine and Poland yesterday, meeting huge numbers of refugees coming across the border. They were exhausted, they were traumatized, and obviously it was women and children, and they were giving their stories. They fled their city of Kharkiv, mainly from Kharkiv, and they were talking about how their homes had been bombed, their city had been ruined and flattened, and they were obviously very emotional, leaving their husbands and their grown-up sons behind. So it was a real story of a tide of human misery. These people really need our support. I think it's fantastic that the British people have been so compassionate and generous, wanting to help. But I have to tell you, I moved away from the border at Medica to the nearby humanitarian aid centre where the Ukrainian refugees are taken to. And there's lots of people there trying to help them, obviously with food and so on, but also to move them on to other places in Poland and to elsewhere in Europe. And I found 19 countries present there, Germany and France and Spain and so on, and Norway and Switzerland, with people helping refugees on. There was no British presence. It was deeply ironic. It was an old, disused Tesco supermarket, a huge Tesco supermarket, all these countries there, but no British presence. And the British people are being compassionate, but I'm afraid our government is being cold-heartedly incompetent. It's when the British government is not here, and they should be.
What should they be doing?
Well, they should be like other countries here. So if there's a family of refugees who want to come to the UK, they can come. I met a mother and her son yesterday. The son said it was his dream to come to London. He could speak a little bit of English. They would have come here, but there was no one from the British government or some aid workers supported by this British government to welcome them, to get them over here. The government have got this scheme, which is sort of online and so on. That's not good enough. We need the British workers, aid workers supported by the government here, present, physical, able to welcome them, bring them with open arms, and then help them to get to the UK, so that all those amazing people in our country who want to give them homes can give them homes. But if they can't come to the UK in the first place, because we're not here, then they're never going to get there. And I just think it's a total failure by the government. I'm really alarmed. The British people are being generous and compassionate, and our government just isn't here. I spoke to some aid workers from Britain who were offering sort of soup and nappies and so on to the refugees, the mothers and the kids as they came over the border. And they say they've been down the whole Polish-Ukrainian border and they haven't seen any presence from the UK government supporting British aid workers. That is just not good enough. The British people want our government to be compassionate and generous. They want the government to facilitate those Ukrainian people who want to come to the UK, but the government aren't there. And I am absolutely fed up of British ministers saying they're doing everything they can when I know they are not. I've seen it with my own eyes.
The Medica border crossing, I know, is one of the biggest and the busiest border crossings on the Polish-Ukrainian border. What are living conditions like there now for the people who are there?
Well, I heard stories from some of the aid workers. Apparently there's sometimes an 8-9 kilometre queue of Ukrainian refugees trying to get through the border. So it's extraordinarily busy. There's huge numbers of people here. I think the Poles are doing a fantastic job, by the way, with lots of other aid workers from many, many countries here, giving them an initial support, moving them onto humanitarian aid centres, giving them a place to sleep, and then trying to move them on coaches, on trains, so they can go elsewhere in Poland, elsewhere in Europe. So there's amazing work being done to help these Ukrainian refugees. That is great. I'm just embarrassed that our government isn't here. And that's what I want to see. And I'm calling on the government ministers to stop giving us spin and PR and pretending you're doing something. You're not here. Well, there's no point putting something online if you're not prepared to come like other countries are. And, I'm so proud of the British people wanting to help, wanting to open their arms, open their homes. But, Priti, Patel and Boris Johnson, they're slamming the door. It's just not good enough.